the Steelers have done so much. Surprise is inevitable, I guess, at this point. Like, you just never know what's coming. So what is coming next? That's the question. It has been an offseason full of, you have no idea what turn the Steelers are going to make. I have a hard time believing that they're done, that this is it, that they've filled it and they're ready to go and move on. So I'll ask, what's the next move for the Pittsburgh Steelers? What's the next surprise in your head that they make? The next, I should word it as in the next moment that I'm running back into this office to write something because you and or Jack have texted me that something crazy has happened as I walk downstairs.
Yeah, I think I have to step outside of myself a bit here because I've been the skeptic this entire offseason. But I think that there are two scenarios that jump out to me as maybe those exact sort of situations where we'd have to scramble back to get the news out.
Yes.
One is maybe obvious, and I'll start with that one, and it is that they pull off another blockbuster trade for a wide receiver, and it is a player that we have talked about here, and it is a player that we have gushed over, and it is for New Orleans Saints wide receiver Chris Olave.
Ooh.
I think that would be the sort of groundbreaking, hard-hitting story that could shock us, but at this point, we've been learning and getting all this information to tell us that this is a different offseason altogether, so expect the unexpected. I think that's number one, maybe the more realistic option. Number two, and this is purely conjecture, purely just a thought that occurred to me this morning while, thinking over what you wanted to talk about today.
Cool.
What if they traded Pat Freiermuth?
What would it take? What would it take?
I think maybe less than what I would want and what I would project his value to be. Because I think there's a possibility in my crazy conspiracy theory seeking mind that the acquisition of Jonnu Smith could make him expendable one way or the other. I don't agree with it. I think it would be very counter to what the goal of the offense is, especially with Arthur Smith's, sort of fixation with tight ends that are athletic and mobile.
I agree.
That being said, I don't understand sort of what players do for the mind of Omar Khan, for the mind of management. It seems like where I find strength in numbers could mean someone is expendable. I think positions of need are not sort of where the Steelers always feel their positions of need are. So, we clearly don't see things together. That's why I'm not on their payroll. But I could see a world, a crazy one, I will also add, where Pat Freiermuth gets traded and we're like, what the hell is going on this summer? We got to get back to the keyboard ASAP.
The Pat trade would be nuts. Would I rule it out? Definitely not. I haven't heard anything. I don't think you slamming a Diet Coke at 9:23 in the morning.
Yeah, you can't shame me for, the lemonade chugger watcher for slamming a DC at 9 a.m. Let the man do what he's got to do to get through the day. This is America.
Freedom
rings.
No,
I am having a Diet Coke. It's I don't drink coffee, so I get my caffeine through like soda or energy drinks in the morning. So
that was just the last thing I expected you to pick up. It clicked in my head as you picked up. I was like, it's not even 10 a.m. yet. It's not even 9:30 yet. There's people sleeping.
Is that worse than someone grabbing a beer at 9:24 in the morning?
On the 4th of July? No. On a normal day,
maybe.
No.
Okay, good.
On the 4th of July, yes. On the 4th of July, yes. If you grabbed a beer at 9:23 in the morning on the 4th of July, I'm hoping at least you're going to go start setting up for the party or something.
Yeah, I'm cool with it on 4th of July for sure.
Productive beer. That's what you call it. A productive beer. If this was a normal Friday, issue. That's somebody needs to, phone calls need to be made. It still got me. I'm not going to judge. I still have, we're entering day 4 of this Ghost energy drink. And gross, there's a chance it gets drank today. There's a chance that sip or two goes down, just a little pick me up. The non-coffee thing. All right. I understand. Pat Freiermuth. I'm sorry. It got me. Pat Freiermuth. I look, it would be stunning It would be stunning. It doesn't make sense for the Steelers to trade Pat Freiermuth, but nothing they've done this offseason has had the clear cut, like, this makes sense. It's all like there's an argument for it. There's an argument against it. There's an argument for it. There's an argument against it. And that's Jonnu Smith. I will say I'd be very disappointed. Very disappointed. If the Pittsburgh Steelers have put so much time and effort into this offseason and have kept and walked the line so successfully of prepare for the future while also go all in right now. And I'm telling, it's successful the way they've done it. Like, you traded Minka for two guys that are going to be here for the same amount of time that Minka would be. You went out and you got young in a lot of places. Like, it's now and later, and I like it. Pat, you get rid of Pat makes no sense. Like, you got rid of Pat for a dude 4 years older, who is on a 1-year deal. Like, that would blow my mind. It would be the first move that they made that I'd say, you are now just solely all in, and it does not make sense how all in you are for 2025. Mine sit on somewhat of the same wavelength here. I got two names that I think could be surprise trades as we head into the back half of the summer here before training camp. The first one's a tight end. He's Darnell Washington. If teams are calling, if the Steelers are calling and saying, hey, we're looking to make a move, who could we add to a trade package? You're not getting much, if anything, for Connor Hayward. If teams are even willing to accept a trade or talk a trade, I don't think you're going to get much. Darnell, you're getting something. I don't see Darnell here long-term. I don't see Darnell here as a guy that signs a second contract unless it's super cheap. I could see him getting a 1-year deal after this one to just kind of stick around, but that's all I would guess. I could see Darnell's name coming up in some trade packages and the Steelers saying, all right, yeah, that makes some sense. We have two tight ends. Connor Hayward could be a third. Maybe we keep DJ Thomas Jones and we feel pretty okay about it. The second one is, and this sucks, but the second one's Calvin Austin. Because if you're going all in for a wide receiver, if the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking at it and saying, we need a wide out, Calvin's good trade bait to use in the trade for that. And if you have expectations for Roman, you're okay moving on from Calvin, who's on the last year of his deal. I mean, I don't know if or is going to be next year will be the last year of his deal. But anyways, I don't know if Calvin is a guy that they've had any conversations about, but I don't trust the whole Zach Azzani saying wide receiver 2 thing, because Zach Azzani is a wide receivers coach. He's not Mike Tomlin. He's not Omar Khan. He didn't find out DK Metcalf was coming until the trade was made, just like the rest of us. I could see it and say, if the Steelers find themselves in a situation where the Saints, where the Commanders, where the Packers are saying, yeah, we're this close, but you got to toss us a wide out too, Calvin's the name that comes up. I could see Roman, but I think Roman be a bigger stretch to put on this list. Calvin feels a little bit more realistic to me.
That hurts my heart, truly. I think I would be more shocked about Calvin Austin being dealt, or really just any wide receiver being dealt at this point of the summer, because I just think they want to add to it. So I would be shocked if they, took from it in order to complete a trade or add anybody of significance. But yeah, I mean, yes, I think you and I are kind of locked in on this idea of like going all in could sort of push the Steelers to make some deals that might like really not go well for them, or it could put them to, they could get really overzealous and then sort of like be willing to give up on a Calvin Austin or part with a Pat Freiermuth, for example, for a trade that might be better for, a month of the 2025 season, but would just really defeat the entire purpose of like the long-term outlook of this team. So I would hate to see Calvin Austin go as well, or really, I think I would be more comfortable with Roman Wilson if I had to pick one younger receiver to part with. But I mean,
yeah,
that's an awful pick as well, because you've seen nothing from him on the field. He could be a very special player once the pads come on and he's, productive and healthy. So man, Whew.
It would suck.
All stunning, all stumping me, all making me feel like, yeah, we would be scrambling back and being like, we got to get this out ASAP. No one talked about this. No one saw this coming. Why are they doing this?
Would you trade Calvin Austin for Chris Olave and a 3rd round pick?
Yes. Yeah, I would. Because I think that is a trade where you are not just getting a player for the 2025 season, and you are getting him for at least 2026, and then you can hope that some sort of negotiation for an extension goes well, and then you can go from there. But I mean, if you're telling me you get 2 seasons of a player with a proven track record and skill set of a Chris Olave for Calvin Austin, who I believe has a career high of less than 600 yards receiving, and a 3rd round pick, I think that's a really good deal for the Steelers, who are looking towards the future, but also trying to win as many games as possible in 2025.
I agree, man. And it would suck. There's nobody, I mean, friend of the show, man, Calvin Austin. There's nobody I enjoy seeing in the locker room more. There's nobody I enjoy chatting up in the locker room more than Calvin Austin. But man, I think if it, like, everything's on the table. Let's just be real with the situation. Everything is on the table for 2025 in the summer, and where it goes, who knows? Who knows? All right, that's everything on our agenda on this happy 4th of July. One more shout out to the thing. Make sure that you guys are entering medium. You got to be a medium fitter. I'm not a medium fitter. I'm an XL in this guy. I like them loose though. You know what I mean? Give me a little room for these tight shoulders.
Room to do a shuttle run.
I'll blow some out in a medium, dude. I'll rip that on hole 1.